Morning, 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 all morning. Morning, Roxanne. Thank you for my brooms. Maria Gani, morning. Althea, morning. The Fanso, always present. Morning, sir. Arlene Lewis, morning, Arlene. Cyril Mayas, morning to you, sir. Real Raga, morning. Winston Jones, morning to you. Deborah Duranti, morning. Deborah Glenn Richardson. Annie Frederick Shaw, morning. Natalie F, morning. Cheryl Lewis, Phyllis Farrell, morning to you guys. See who we have on Facebook. Annette Beard, morning Annette. Morning Diane. Claire Carrington, morning Claire. Morning Carol. Gemma, morning. Alison Poise, morning Alison. Alison is telling me there's no volume. I don't understand what's going on. Okay. Alright, let me restart. I don't know what's going on. Linton Loftus, morning to you. So just give me 1 sec, guys. I just have to restart this device here for Facebook because they're telling me they're not getting any volume. Emerson Brown, morning to you. Let me try this again and see what's happening here. So, let's see something. So let's see. Let's see what's going on. Rookman Ganguly, morning Rookman. Okay, hopefully that solves the problem. Let's try this again and see. Right. I hope you guys can hear me now. Hopefully. Trude, morning. Good morning to His Excellency, President of Pleasantville, Nigel O'Connor, and First Lady Marissa Keegan. Nigel, let me know if you're all hearing me now. Marilyn, Cloud, morning. Okay, nice. Thank you so much. Right, so I guess that fixed the problem. Good. Technology, boy. What's a hell of a thing. Right, so let's see who else is there. Annette McConney, morning to you. Sarah Richards, Jenny Joseph, Helen Batiste, morning to all of you guys. Judy Bowen, morning Judy. Maria Lyons, morning Maria. Michaela Zama. So let me jump into it because I had to jump off a little earlier than I had planned this morning. So my left front tire is a bit soft, and so I just need to run to the tire shop for them to deal with that for me. Ruth Fronted, morning. Ruth, Wilma Young, Hazel Thompson, morning to you guys. Adriana, Alexis, Finba, Calendar. So it's been about 2 weeks since I last did a live, and there's a lot that took place in the last 2 weeks. Too many things for me to address, obviously, and one day quite a bit to talk about. Of course, the main headlines being the Commissioner of Police getting a 1-year extension, much to the disappointment and the chagrin of a lot of people, including the leader of the opposition, who made no bones to let the world know she's not in support of that. Who would she like to see as Commissioner of Police? I have no idea, as if changing the commissioner would magically cause crime to, or should I say murders to reduce, right? The only commissioner who claims to have those superpowers, well, former commissioner is Mr. Griffith. Haven't seen his pronouncements yet on the extension of the term of Willa Christopher, but I am sure somewhere he's being interviewed sometime today or tomorrow, and he will make known his position on that. But as I said, in the interest of time, a couple of things I wanted to touch on. One story in particular that I saw, and in reading the comments, got me a little bit peeved, especially when I see who some of the comments were coming from. There was a story in The Guardian a couple of days ago entitled East Port of Spain Startups to Get $20,000, right? In a bid to grow economic activity in East Port of Spain microbusiness, startups can receive a grant of up to $20,000 in financial assistance. This initiative is being done by the East Port of Spain Development Company through its new Community Business Incubator program. And in an interview last Friday with the Sunday Business, EPOS chairman Hilon Marine said one cannot hide from the fact that crime impacts the 19 communities that are in East Port of Spain, and doing such initiatives to help finance micro businesses or startups can assist with employment and reduce criminal activity. Everybody have a history with the state of crime and murders taking place, and they always like to wash them out on these 19 communities that Mr. Maureen, who I believe was the former deputy mayor of Port of Spain, is speaking about here. Maureen sought to debunk social media posts that programs like these are giving money to gangsters in the area. Why is the assumption every time he's speaking here that programs will go into the pockets of gangsters and gunmen? So I want to refute that categorically, because the program is meant to help thousands of people who have entrepreneurial mindsets. I was driving through Pashley Street on Thursday where I saw a young lady who had set up a tent selling food. Our company could impact people like her. She could put in a request for support and we can help improve the aesthetics. She needs some equipment that will help her to have a good business. We will work with them to register their businesses if it is not already, and provide mentorship on how to run the business. So they're not just giving them money, tell them, hey, take this money and like yourself, we're giving you the support, as the government has been doing with all programs where they are giving grants, not loans, grants to people to establish businesses or to improve their current business. Maureen noted that $3 million has been allocated for the program, and more will be allocated once the demand is there. The aim is to help up to 150 businesses in the 19 communities. Asked where the funding was coming from, he indicated the government provides the allocation under East Port of Spain socio-economic project. We are hopeful that the program can run for up to 10 years with the government's assistance. And we have reached out to 2 international organizations for help, and we are appealing to other organizations to come on board for this important program. Maureen also pointed out that this initiative is the economic impetus for socio-economic development and is inspired by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, particularly Goal 8, which is to promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Goal 10, reduce inequality within among countries. But then he goes on to say, but most importantly, it is tied to the vision of the residents who, from Beetham to St. John Street, from Neverduty to Malik, Caledonia to Gonzales, Sealots to Belmont, have called for more support and investment to help residents self-actualize. Many of them have wonderful business ideas and lack the capacity and support to turn those dreams into reality. He outlined that going forward, the state organization will bring on a research officer, as the EPOS does not currently have one, and the goal for the research officer is to go into the intensive research of the 19 communities to guide the program. The aim is to capture how many people are unemployed in the various communities, see how many are unskilled and need training. Capturing the data from them would help us guide on what programs we should focus on and what areas of training should be zeroed on. The company is going in a very research-driven approach. So it's not just for helping people to establish businesses, but they're going into East Port of Spain community and looking to figure out how you can assist. So let me share one of the comments with you, right? That jumped out at me. Get this here. From the usual suspects. So Injan Ishmael decided to post this article, and his comment was, well, not comment really. His caption for this was, one thing about PNM, they don't hide their hate. So in other words, the PNM or the government deciding to go into East Port of Spain and to assist people there who have business ideas with a little kakada, as well as the technical support that they need to take the business to the next level. Injan Ishmael considers that to be the government, the PNM, as he says, not hiding their hate. They hate for the other communities in Trinidad, for the non-PNM areas, in other words. The same people who are always telling you the PNM don't do nothing for the communities or the constituencies that vote for them. That election after election, these people vote PNM and they get nothing. The communities are the worst. They have the highest rates of employment, the most amount of crime, the most amount of bad roads. They don't get water. They get nothing from the PNM, but they continue to vote PNM. Right? Even those on the other side, that other party, they say the same thing. PNM don't do nothing for their supporters. Why? Because every time the PNM try to do something for their supporters, who, as it turns out, predominantly persons of African descent, in these communities, as I always say, that other party, quick to run to the courthouse and the Equal Opportunities Commission to cry discrimination. So it's only a matter of time before we hear somebody decide to take the East Port of Spain development company to the court or the Equal Opportunity Commission to claim discrimination, right? Then you had Philip Alexander. He decided to jump in on the act too. Let me get his comment. So give me 1 sec, let me get Philip here. What is that supposed to do beside buy votes? Startups need rent moratoriums and access to revolving stock and raw material credit. Stop using the treasury for political gain and actually take an interest in giving these small businesses the start that they need. So all these people who selling on Charlotte Street, who selling on Henry Street, right? Who took a decision to work for themselves. They're not working for anybody, no 8 to 4, no 9 to 5. They're not going and work no CPEP. They decide that they're going to invest their little money, whether they took a loan from the bank, they took a loan from the credit union, and they're selling their stuff. And we know these people year round, they're on Charlotte Street. They have their tables set out, whether it is they're selling on the side of the street itself, they're selling in front of a store. In fact, people like Philip Alexander are some of those who are always complaining that these people are undermining the businesses whose storefront they sell in front of, because they're selling the same thing that the store is selling, but they're selling it at a cheaper price in some cases and costing these established businesses money. So here it is that East Port of Spain, an initiative is being taken to help these people to take the business to the next level, right? So that they could provide for the children. So instead of them not being able to provide for the children and then they end up in the clutches of the gang members, government is saying, let us take a proactive approach and help them. But you have at least two influential people in the persons of Inshan Ishmael and Philip Alexander who have a problem with that, right? One says a waste of time because they make no sense and all the things he's talking about that you need, rent moratorium and blah, 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 and all of them things. These people who have been running businesses for years, selling this stuff selling this stuff on Charlotte Street, Frederick Street, all over. In fact, I would dare to say that the majority of the people who you see selling on the street probably live in East Port of Spain. All of the areas that Mr. Maureen mentioned probably live in those areas and just looking for a little help. Just a little help. Maybe some of them might be a little behind on some little thing and they're looking for money for a while now to be able to move into a little storefront. You have Arlene's Mall and I think is Charlotte Street. How did Arlene start? So it do have potential for them. You see, because every time the government decides to spend money in those areas, you always have people like them who will come out and chastise it. Because the only thing, God, as far as they're concerned, the only thing that could come out of these areas is gunmen, bandits, rapists, conmen. Nothing good. So why waste money to give these people on the pretext that they're going to establish business? So don't invest in these communities. But you see, we're not stupid, we understand. Because when the government invests in these communities and businesses start to flourish in these communities, this stupid talk that they have about, oh, black people can't run business. And you know, according to Mr. Amar, the African community don't save. The African community don't know how to invest. The East Indian community, according to Robert Amar, they spend and they save. But the African community spend and spend. So they have no business acumen. They don't know how to run business. So don't even start, don't try. But you know what was also disappointing? I'm going to play this for you. I was listening to Juliet's program yesterday, and I heard Kingsley call in and refer to Dr. Rowley as a slave catcher. It's not the first time he has done so. Right? Refer to Dr. Rowley as a slave catcher. Dr. Rowley, the PNM, and he, Kingsley, supporting Kamala. That is his mother, the mother of the nation, according to him. I want to ask Kingsley, you living in this community, East Port of Spain community, that's considered East Port of Spain, Kingsley, you could tell me one thing that Prasad Visasa did that comes close to this initiative? In the 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days that she was Prime Minister, what did she offer the people of East Port of Spain? You see, if she had offered an initiative like this when she was Prime Minister, perhaps the crime situation in East Port of Spain today might not have been as bad as it is. We would have had a lot more small businesses. And the businesses that were small then could have probably been medium or larger today. But instead, as Prime Minister, all she offered the people of East Port of Spain was color me orange. $69 a day, to paint derelict buildings. So make the outside look good. Don't mind the inside need plenty work, but just get them that $69 a day for 3 months. Invited them to the Hilton Hotel to launch the program, right? And they were met by a heavy contingent of guard and emergency branch officers, riot police, in full tactical gear, ready to share some licks for these never-see-come-see from East Port of Spain. Bring them into the Hilton Hotel to treat them like little children, hands up, out, down. What else did she offer them? Baby grant, $500 a month to make child. Make children at all you can't mind, and we will give all you $500 a month to buy milk and Pampers, and you will fight up because apparently all you need for children is milk and pampers, nothing else. Offer them food card, right? And offer to sell them these derelict apartments for $100 to relieve the HDC of all responsibility to maintain these apartments. So you think it's a good deal here, going and get a house or going and get an apartment for $100. And after that is mine. I get in a deed that says it's mine. But anything go wrong with the community, with the development, hard luck. Make sure you have your money set aside to fix the problem, because you could no longer go to the HDC and say, hey, I need this fixed, because that's not their responsibility. You own the property now. Right? That is what they offer. So Mr. Kingsley, rather than say, yes, good job, you don't have to call Dr. Rowley in. Reference the East Port of Spain Development Company. Tell them, good job. Go and talk to some of your friends and neighbors of East Port of Spain. Tell them about this program, or who you know have business ideas, or who's selling the wings and fries, or whatever it is, and want to take it to the next level. Probably want to rent a little spot in one of these food courts downtown on Frederick Street there, where you have empty spaces, and they want to take it to the next level to improve their business, because they have a sweet hand, but they just don't have the spot, right? They're doing something just outside on the street where they live in, but the amount of people who they're exposed to sell their food is limited. But if they could get this grant to maybe help them to pay at least a month's rent and to buy some equipment, they could set up there and not just sell wings and fries, because their hand probably sweet and they could make a good pilau, a nice kalaloo and macaroni pie. And the volume of traffic that is exposed to the businesses now is much greater. But he wouldn't go and do that. No, he wouldn't walk the community and talk to the people. Wouldn't do that. Instead, he want to come on the radio and call Dr. Rowley a slave catcher. And he is offering the people of East Port of Spain something that Cameron never did and has never spoken about. Right? You ain't going to talk that talk. But have somebody else. You see, you can't be calling yourself PNM and figure that being PNM means when it's convenient to you, put on a PNM jersey and you do a live and you ring bell, ting ling 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 ling. And when election day you go and vote, and you probably tell one or two of your neighbors, yeah, we're going and vote PNM. But whole year, or whole 5 years, you're about talking the PNM. Every time the government does something, you're quick to run and do a live and ring bell, and it'll speak this minister, that minister. But you're calling yourself PNM, eh? You are the queen of the EDR. Let me get this here. Hold on. See, I don't like hypocrisy, you know. And being PNM is more than just casting your ballot for the PNM on election day, because you can't be bad talking the party, bad talking the government, everything that they do, cavorting with the other side, hug up, quick to post up pictures with yourself with others who bad talking the government just as much as you, or even worse, but then calling yourself PNM. And when it's convenient to you, put on a PNM jersey and claiming you're PNM. And Patrick Manning was your father. So, let me get this here. Hold on.
PNM only acting for the second class and the first class. I have nothing to say again. It's good for all you who vote for PNM. All of this cost Kamala every day. Kamala, and Kamala come for 5 years. Fix the people and fix me. Look how Kamala done my shit. And this is PNM back hole. And look how PNM is power for so many years. Lavanti fix yet. Kamala come for 5 years and let us cost that woman. Kamala share money left, right, and right. Children get laptop, you take it from them. Children get that it. Everything that Kamala give the people, they take it from them. And how people suffering today. Right? Everything that the Indian woman gives people, or they take it from them. And caution she. And all they do nothing better. Your man coming on the two for Lavanti and Bill Rose school. I would like she to come back in for her because I get Bethlehem school. I might get Bethlehem and get Piccadilly school. Years of fighting for Piccadilly. I know you want to come and talk about emancipation. You want to change emancipation and I know you to go walk.
I ain't finished yet. Hold on.
Look, Rowley, let's stop my magazine, let's have a pack on the bag and go to dinner. Pack on the bag and go out of this. Time for little go pay and then go. Get young people a chance now. Go from there by. Or over behind the crime out of. I ain't talking the crime really out of hand. Rowley a fight for position, they can't control. They can't control the crime, they can't control nothing in the country. Stop talk all in a sudden. You stop talk. You understand? Again with the blame. So yes, we have to take the blame because we put here there. We have to take the blame. It's good for them. Shake it in all the pipe and smoke it. Every day for 5 murder.
Right. This is somebody who has been advocating for the East Port of Spain community. Always talking about, oh, this government is doing nothing for East Port of Spain. And it had nothing for the youths. And nothing for the youths when it had the killing the other day in our place. You know, I can nothing for that. This government is doing nothing for the youths in the area. They want employment and they want this and they want that. When it is, before they launched, the government launched the Homestead program. Foster Cummins went into East Dry River. This same individual took him to some place where it had a piece of land to show him things and whatnot and all of that. We have the the Homestead program. They show him where it have land and so on. How many people, how many of the youths you so care about in that community have you told about the Homestead program? How many of them? About the shade house program. How many of them you told about that? So many different programs that have under the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service for young people between the ages of 18 and 35. How many of them in the community you know just smoking weed? How many of them in the community you know involved in crime that you went and talked to and say, hey, put on the gun? Because they respect mother. Yeah? They respect you, Queen of the ADR. How many of them have you spoken to tell them, hey, go and sign up for this program? I want to hear nothing. Here it is that you have the government is injecting money directly into the community, into the hands of the people. Not $2, not $69 a day, $20,000 in the first instance to start your business. But it doesn't stop there. That is just the seed. Because they have other funding mechanisms through NETCO where you could get our money to improve. And not only that, as I said before, you're getting the technical support. So we're not just giving you money and leave you by yourself. You're getting help, all of the necessary tools that you need to make sure your business thrives. We ain't going to set you up, then you take money, start business, and then the business fall by the wayside. Monitoring you, sitting with you so that as the business, if you encounter any little problems, let's look at the situation and see where you went wrong. Because we need this to survive. We need this to succeed. Because you're building a legacy for your future generation, right? This is legacy building. Wealth creation. That's what this is about. And you see, any life, go on the page and see. Not one life done to say to this administration, well done. Not a life. Nothing. To say to Mr. Moraine, who I'm certain this individual knows, to say, excellent initiative. How will you need me to help? Tell me how I could spread the word about this to the people of East Dry River and East Port of Spain, who have been advocating for the longest while. Tell me what I could do. How could I become part of this to make this a success? No live on that. No ring bell, ting-a-ling-ling-ling-ling. But I have plenty to say about Imbut and this one and that one. But wouldn't use your influence in the community to promote this program. To help the same people. We could go live and talk about the crime situation and 5 murder and how much murders. A lot of which taking place in the very same community that the government is now trying to help. But wouldn't come and advocate, but have no problem, have time to sit down with Kamala Persad-Bissessar and have crime talks. So they go on in love until Monday. The usual crowd that they normally draw, they couldn't draw. Why? Because the busloads, according to Rodney Charles, when he did his press conference a few weeks ago, and he told the leadership of the UNC, you can't continue with busing in the same 300 people and expect to win an election. But those persons who would have come on their own, you know, because of the mindset they have about Laventille. Laventille, me ain't going there. I'm not going there for no crime talks. And next thing, by the time I come outside, the four tires on my car gone. I'm not going there because next thing I'm walking back to my car and I get robbed. Or while we sit down during the meeting, gunshots flying. We ain't going there. So where do? You try and recruit people like this individual to get them to spread the word. And everybody say, hey, but look, you didn't see mother hug up Kamala. And while it is, you might be able to say nonsense about, well, you know how that person is. She's real, she's PNM to the bone. PNM true and true, don't mind. You see, she take what they have and still vote PNM. That's how it is do it. No, that is not how you do it. That is not how you do it. Because if you're true PNM, you ain't doing that. If you could ever get me to go and stand up and hear it, but Kamala Prasad says, you're mad for any amount of money, keep that. And as I said, you cannot be telling the world you're PNM and then doing them kind of things. Every opportunity that you get to bad talk the party, bad talk the government, the initiatives of the government, when they're doing the very same things that you have been calling for the longest while, you have nothing to say about it. You're quiet, finger on your lip. Because how you could cuss them yesterday and then come and praise them today and then tomorrow go back and cuss them again. But you see, when you could say, well, don't matter, or let's say, I don't want no mind, or let's see me talking to Kamala and David Naked and Jolene John. When time come, I know where to put my vote. No, you see, because when you do things like that, there are people who see you doing that, the impressionable, right? Those who may not know you. When you create fodder for UNC pages that kick out the PNM to post up videos like that and say, look, PNM, Queen of PNM, or whatever it is they want to call it. The memes on social media and to the in the area who are looking for guidance and look up to you and they see you hug up this one and that one from the UNC and only hearing nothing good about the PNM. While you on election day might run and dip your finger in the ink and vote for the PNM. The impact that you have had on these young impressionable ones who don't know better, don't know the history that you know and have not benefited from the PNM as you have. And they're looking around and they're not seeing the opportunities that are there because there's nobody to guide them to these opportunities. And you could do that. But instead, it's only every opportunity you get bad talk the PNM and bad talk the PNM and bad talk the PNM. But at the back of your mind, you're saying, you know, it's really PNM. They don't know that. And mother say, and we see mother say vote for Kamala. When they hear you saying, then you wish Kamala come back so you could get Piccadilly school and this school and that school and Kamala give out laptop and all the things that Kamala did. And with all of that, it does not compare to what this administration is doing. To the initiatives that are taken, as Dr. Rowley said, he will broach no opposition because the time has come for the party that these persons have supported to do more for them, to go directly into the communities and impact them directly. So who want to vex? That is all your business. But before, when these things would have been done behind closed doors and in the dark, now it's being done in the light to assist these communities where it is needed most. So that we're not only talking about murders and robberies taking place in these communities, but we could talk about the development of business in these communities. But where is the applause for the government for this? Where is it? CNC3 quick to go downtown every day and do what people say and ask them a set of foolish questions to bad talk the government. You feel Mark Basant and whoever else would, why don't they go into the East Port of Spain community and ask that question? What do people say? Ask them about this initiative. Go on George Street and Nelson Street and Duncan Street and ask the people what it is. Ask them what direct fisheries. Ask them and hear what they say. Half of them don't know about it because they're reading papers. They don't have time to buy papers. They don't buy papers. And when they see, they're passing these things straight on social media. So they have no idea about it. Again, like you all always hear me coming and say, government's biggest weakness is public relations. How is this program being marketed? So there are people out there who could benefit from this and don't have a clue that such a thing exists. Because the media will carry it once and the newspapers and then that's about it. You will hear nothing more about it. All the number, how many 16 and 20 programs that the Ministry of Youth Development have for young people. You see any of these medias promoting that? Other than what you're seeing on Facebook, social media, with the websites and so on of these different ministries, you're not seeing the media promoting that. So programs in place, but the people don't know about it. They don't know. So what's the point? And when it is that you have influential people like that, who could spread the word, we ain't talking that. As I said, I can't bad talk the government today, praise them tomorrow, and then go back bad talking them and cussing them tomorrow because people will say I'm a hypocrite. So this is the train I'm riding now. Because every other week, Julie John knocking on the door and she coming with a basket. Naked coming knocking on the door and he coming with a basket to take out pictures and videos. Because they realize how to use these individuals. Like Kingsley, they reject you over and over and over, but you're still there head on head with them. And they have nothing to do with reason. What are they offering? All the things they're talking about. Load up the matic. Give guns. That's what they're saying. That is their solution to the crime situation. Give everybody gun. So that when these little black boys from East Port of Spain, who have no opportunities when they come to rob you and to invade your house, load up the matic. Pull it back. Knock it on them. And then knock it again. Kill them out. Don't give them opportunities to start no business. All these little boys drive around in the back. Those of us who go around the back, around the bridge by Piccadilly. And you see, it lifts my heart when I see these young men who could be in a life of crime. You see them at the side of the road, just before you take the bend by the Besson Street police station there. They have all the steering wheel covers, all kind of thing on a table set up on the side selling. And in addition to having that, they're in the middle of the road with water, Coca-Cola selling. And some people who applaud the initiative will stop and buy 2 bottles of water, even though they don't need it. They may not be thirsty. But you know what? Let me give them a little encouragement so they could continue along this path and not go down the road of crime. That is why I applaud these guys. So I too, sometimes I buy the water. I don't need it, but I want to give them a little sale. So they will continue and not give up and say, well, boy, this doesn't make no sense. I spend my money. I have all these things selling, nobody am buying. So let me just give up and go and pick up a gun. They could do that. So when I see these young African men who fall within that age group that is considered at-risk youth, doing something positive, trying to sell to make a little dollar. I don't know what their home circumstances, probably they might have a little child or two, but give them the encouragement. And here it is that another opportunity is being presented by the government to help them. Where are the kudos? All I'm seeing is negative. From Ishmael, from Philip Alexander, and the rest of them. But nothing positive. You feel David Knuckle will go and talk about this, do a live, the Douglaya? Only negative. Why don't do a live and talk about this and commend the government? Say for once they do something right. For once, you wouldn't do that. You bypass that straight because we know every day they're picking up the papers and looking for negatives in the papers to run and do a live. But you see something like that, you wouldn't do a live on that. No, pretend as if you didn't see that. When the government announced that they wanted to take East Port of Spain, in terms of the property around all of these old buildings that have been there for years, these apartment buildings, and put up new ones. He was leading the charge to come and hold up report. And so I'll tell you people, don't bother to listen to this government. Don't listen to them, right? They want to come and take your property and give it to the 1% and sow in the seeds of discord in the minds of these persons. So keep your property the way it is. Don't bother with this PNM, they're wicked and evil. They don't want to help all you. So he can't come and talk about it. He can't praise these initiatives. And so meanwhile, it just stays where it is. Stays where it is. Right? We're making ourselves available for pictures. Kamala will sit down next to Mrs. Prasad Bisasa in the crime talk. You're so concerned about the crime situation out of hand. Crime situation out of hand. You're claiming poverty is tied directly to crime. Well, okay. If all you want to go down that road, no problem. The government is saying we are providing opportunities to relieve that poverty. We're not just telling you come and take a walk to pay you small money for the day. They're going beyond that. Instead of giving you fish, they're teaching you to fish and holding your hand too, helping you to buy the boats, right? But no applause for that. But we come in, we bypassing that and come in to do live to talk about what Kamala do when she was there and Kamala provide laptop and Kamala. But you can't give me a running list of the things that Kamala did for the same community that you are advocating for all the time. What did she do? Anything comes close to this? No. And this is just one program that is available to these persons to be able to access money to start business. All of these young people who coming out of school every year with their passes, well, again, Cape and CSEC and whatever, looking for work. Instead of you guide them along this path and tell them, here, look, start a business. Yes, if you want to go and pursue a career and tertiary studies, no problem. But look at starting a business, right? Because you have plenty of people out there with degrees and can't find work. Because degrees are now a dime a dozen. Everybody could go to the university and Gate will pay for it. And then they come out and they have a degree, and 300-400 of you all competing for the same office jobs. Take up the opportunities to start your business. When your business starts up, even if it is that you get an opportunity to work in a company you wanted to work for, you could still have your business on the side. Train people to run it for you. Passive income. So you're making your salary and you're able to earn money on the side. When you have the time, you could be in your business as well. But we ain't teaching them that. Teach them to cuss Rowley and cuss Simbert and study about the Auditor General's report. Which brings me to that issue that to me should have ended a long time ago. But they continue to give it legs. So when I'm on social media over the last couple of weeks while I was abroad and looking at the comments of some people, and I could only shake my head and laugh. All who want to support the Auditor General and be standing with the Auditor General don't have a clue what the situation is about, right? All kind of, I'm just amazed. I'm trying to explain to some of these people on Facebook what the situation is, and they're holding on to what is their truth, what they believe the situation is. I have no clue. And then I see people like Marsha Walker want to do a live and talk about the reason why the government don't want to lay the report is because they don't want the people to see the what is in it and to scrutinize. I want to tell Marsha Walker and the rest of them something, right? People like Munila. And this is one of the concerns that I have with this situation. Unless and until the report is laid in Parliament, the only persons who are supposed to be in possession of that report is the Minister of Finance, the Auditor General's Department, the Speaker of the House, and the President of the Senate, right? Because the document has not been laid in the Parliament, therefore it is not yet a public document. But that hasn't stopped. It begs the question, how did the UNC get copies of this report, which the government has not accepted as being fully factual, to be able to read liberally? So every time they have a meeting, they give you a little piece and chinks in with the rest. So they're scrutinizing and going through and bypassing all the good things, looking for negative. Look what the Auditor General report say. So they said $6,000 spent. Purchase something, I can't even remember what it was, and it didn't reach yet. And you have people like Jayanti Lakshmi Diyal putting a post, $26,000 going down the drain for so and so, but you have to go and line up in the bank and can't even get 200 US. So you all highlight this thing is so earth-shattering, and the big issue about it for you is 26,000 US spent. We didn't get whatever it was meant to purchase yet. I stress on yet, but you can't go. When you go to the bank, you can't get 200 US. How you link the two? To allow people to say, well, look, the government wasting US and we can't even get to go and travel. That's the big issue. If the citizens of this country were interested in scrutinizing the Auditor General's report, the UNC would probably have about 5 seats in the Parliament. 5. If the citizens were really concerned about what is in these Auditor General reports. Because if they were to go back and read the Auditor General's report from 2010 to 2015, as I have done, and you see the transgressions inside these reports, it would blow your mind as to how the hell the UNC can have 19 seats in the Parliament. So miss me with this bullshit about they want the public need access to the document to scrutinize. The documents have always been there. Every year, around April, May, you just have to go and Google Auditor General's report, type in the year that you want, and it is there for you to read. There for you to read. But direct the people to 2010 to 2015. So they could see what I saw. Every year, how the overdraft and the exchequer account kept going up. From 10 billion to 13 to 22 to 26 to 28. And then eventually, in the end of 2015, when they demitted office, to 33 billion in overdraft. They ain't built nothing close to what Mr. Manning built in the time that he was there. He took the overdraft from 5 billion to 10. We get Napa, we get Sapa, we get Waterfront, Government Campus, Chancery Lane, office complex in San Fernando that they turned into a teaching hospital, the People's Partnership, Prime Minister's Residence and Diplomatic Center. We get schools, police station, fire station, road pave, gate, all of these different things. And Mr. Manning took the overdraft from 5 to 10. None of those things we got from the People's Partnership, well, very little. And most of what they built was built with borrowed money from the Chinese. But you take the overdraft from 10 billion to 33 billion in the space of 5 years. Mr. Manning took it from 5 to 10 in the space of 9 years, or thereabouts. All that in the Auditor General's report. Why don't I direct them to go and read that if they're so concerned? Since 2020, 2023 report is not available. But guess what? 22, go all the way back to about 2006 is available. Tell them start with that. Start with that. If it is that you're reading a novel or a series, you don't start with the last one and then go back. You start with the first one and come forward. So do that. Start with 2006, whatever is available online, and come forward and see what would have taken place under Mr. Manning and what took place under the People's Partnership between 2010 to 2015. Hold your horses. By the time you finish, if you read it thoroughly, by the time you finish the report for 2023, the correct, accurate report will be available for your scrutiny, if you so care about scrutinizing the Auditor General's report. So all of them who are talking now about the government, they want people to see this and they don't want them to see that. Miss us with that BS. The government has never been afraid of what is in the Auditor General's report. A lot of what it is in there and any shortcomings has to do with public servants not doing their job. Because when it is the auditors come to do the audit and they can't get documents, that's the minister's fault. The minister responsible for filing documents. When it is that they can't get copies of leases and all of these different things, the minister responsible for that, the prime minister. This is public servants who have a job to do. They are responsible for ensuring that these documents are in place because you know this audit is an annual thing. So that when the auditors come, it is there to present. When they ask for it, you're supposed to be able to ask for this. You're supposed to know it is in this drawer, in this cabinet, and you go and you find it. But even so, we live in the age of technology where these things are supposed to be not just in hard copy, but you're supposed to have it in soft copy too. So if the hard copy is missing, you should be able to just send a file, a PDF file to the auditor so they could just go on their laptop and scroll through it and see what they need. So what I have to do with the government? What I have to do with the ministers? So if things missing and the auditors not getting what it is they need, that have nothing to do with the ministers, so the government have no reason to be afraid of anything that is in that report. The Prime Minister has spoken about the efforts and the initiatives of this administration to improve the public service and the pushback that they keep getting from people who love the status quo. Public servants who are mindful of the fact, well, the government is there for at least 5 years. So if we could hold out and bide our time and hope that they get voted out, that when the new government comes in, led by a new party, this old edict from the previous administration is out the door. So we don't have to implement it anymore. The pushback is great. And then you have the PSA, right, waiting, willing and waiting as upholders to do the very same thing, which is why we're catching them in now to implement the Revenue Authority. Since under Mr. Manning's days, Mr. Manning, God rest his soul, has gone to the great beyond, and still the Revenue Authority is not in place. Incremental, right? How much donkey years now? We're still waiting for the Revenue Authority, but we're seeing light around the corner with respect to that. But I see that the Auditor General now, attorney, has written to the Minister of Finance, telling him to call off the probe into this whole situation with respect to the audited the accounts and so on. And one must ask the question, why is that? If it is that your hands are clean and your heart is pure, as Mrs. Prasad Bisesa loves to claim, then let the probe take its place, whether it shouldn't matter. Now you're making a case about it himself investigating himself. What utter rubbish. Facts are stubborn things. Facts are facts. The truth is the truth. And to me, this is a very simple thing to get to the bottom of. So this nonsense about himself investigating himself is absolute rubbish. You're hiring a former judge or retaining the services of a former judge to do a probe. The attorney for the Auditor General, and mind you, this is the thing that is upsetting. Every time, bear in mind, every time Freedom Law Chamber sends a letter, a pre-action protocol letter to the Minister of Finance or to the Attorney General, understand there is a cost to that letter. Remember, Mr. Ram Logan is senior counsel. So all of these expenses are racking up. So every time the Auditor General pick up the phone and call Ram Logan or call the law chambers, Freedom Law Chambers to complain, she have an issue with this and she want to send a letter and send a letter. Each one of those letters costing you the taxpayers. Somehow, whether it is that the AG's office paid or however it is paid, this Auditor General continues to put money into the pocket of Mr. Ram Logan with her constant complaints and want letters sent and letters sent. We are not, but all of these persons who supporting the Auditor General, you're not concerned about that. Just remember, under Ram Logan as Attorney General, one pre-action protocol cost $475,000. A 2-paragraph pre-action protocol letter. So how many letters we have to pay for? You're saying you want to get to the truth, but you don't want the probe because the probe is illegal and the probe is unlawful, and you have this judge, former judge, who is stepping on the remit of the Service Commission and discipline and reprimand of employees, public servants falls with the Service Commission, and therefore the minister on overstepping his reach and whatnot. You know what I find interesting? All of a sudden, Ram Logan has a problem with a probe being conducted by a former judge into the actions of public servants, citing that it is unlawful. But I seem to recall, was it just last year? We had the Office of the Attorney General launched a probe into a missing file with respect to the 9 men who were exonerated with respect to the murder of Vindra Naipal Coolman. You all remember that? Where the file went missing from the Office of the Attorney General and they needed to establish what went wrong, what happened, and who was responsible. Same thing, public servants being probed by a former judge. In this case, the former judge was Stanley John. Mr. Ram Logan was also involved in that. Let us not forget he was intimately involved because he is the attorney for the 9 men. How come he didn't write to the Attorney General then to say, stop the probe? How come he didn't write to the Attorney General then to say this probe is unlawful? Because you're probing public servants and you have a former judge probing public servants and your former judge have no authority and he doesn't have the local standard to be able to probe these persons. Same circumstances, public servants, former judge, head of the ministry, the minister is looking to conduct a probe to establish what went wrong with this situation. Same situation. You ain't write no letter, no pre-action protocol letter to tell the Attorney General to stop the probe. But now you're coming to tell the Minister of Finance to stop the probe. Same circumstance. The minister launches a probe, returns the services of a former judge to probe public servants. So it wasn't unlawful last year, but it's unlawful now, right? Because another opportunity to send, if he had sent a pre-action protocol letter, then last year, there's no benefit to him because himself to himself. He had no payment to get for that. No payment to get for that. But this year, it had payment to get. By sending a letter, a pre-action protocol letter, you put that in the file. That is something else to bill. Because the time it took you to write the letter, send the letter, and then respond to the letter is money. So yes, I'm going to say it's unlawful now, but it wasn't unlawful last year. And they really feel we stupid. Yeah? Who talking about that? We ain't talking about that. We're supporting the Auditor General. What you supporting? Where you supporting? Half of them don't even know what the Auditor General does. All of a sudden, there's plenty of them who come out. I was it last week. They had some protests somewhere in town, as I call them, the recalcitrant illiterate minority. Another version of the waterfront ilk. You know what you're doing here today? You know why you're here today? No, ask Sheena. Everything good. Everything good. No clue about what you're there for. You're just supporting the Auditor General. What you're supporting with respect to the Auditor General, you ain't know. But they just say come down, as they listen to the underground report and they say we're coming out in support of the Auditor General. Well, could you explain to us this situation between the Ministry of Finance and the Auditor General? No, you can't. You cannot. But you're just there. Do you know how to access a copy of the Auditor General's report? You ever looked at the Auditor General's report before? No. So what is the sudden interest? Because there's the government involved. And anything to jam the government are there. Don't mind I don't understand beef from Bullfoot and what the issue is, but are there, are supporting. What the hell you're supporting? You don't know what you're supporting. And at the end of the day, when all is sorted out, if the Auditor General will come and apologize. So I see they're complaining now because Saddam Hussein, I think, posing some question wants the Minister of Finance to indicate whether or not he made a call, a personal call to the Auditor General sometime back in April or so. As if that is seeking to make an issue out of that. The permanent secretary in the office of the Ministry of Finance is saying we attempted to fix the problem without ministerial intervention. When we would have found out what the situation was, we attempted to contact the office of the Auditor General. In fact, the permanent secretary, who is the second in command in the ministry after the minister, indicated, which we sent email, we got no response, right? We tried calling, we got no response. So if the permanent secretary, realizing the magnitude of this situation, pick up the phone and calls the Auditor General's department, I'd like to speak to Ms. Ramdas, please. We have a situation. And Ms. Ramdas then taken the call. So the permanent secretary figured, well, okay, well, if she ain't taken my call, well, she might take the minister's call because we have made efforts. We send email, we send other missives. We try to contact directly to speak to the Auditor General, and we get no response. So it's time for the minister to intervene. So maybe if the Auditor General here, the minister wants to speak with you, maybe she might take the call. Maybe the minister calling on behalf of the permanent secretary. To say, Ms. Ramdas, I understand so is the case. My permanent secretary has indicated to me that they've made several attempts, several efforts to reach out to your office and to you in particular to have this matter resolved because it's a significant situation and they've not been able to. So if the minister pick up the phone and make a call, what's wrong with that? He didn't make the first call. According to the permanent secretary, the calls were being ignored. You, as the Auditor General, refused to take a call from the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Finance, the accounting officer for the Ministry of Finance. You refused to take the call based on what was reported. So what the hell you want the minister to do? The matter is brought to his attention and he realizes the gravity of the situation, and we need to, and this is something that could only be resolved with the Auditor General's department. But if the Auditor General not taking calls from the most senior officer in the ministry, well then obviously the minister has to get involved. And if she don't want to take the minister call, the only other person that have higher than him is the Prime Minister, but the Prime Minister wasn't involved in that. So the minister did what he needed to do. Bring the matter to Parliament, extend the time for which it is required to submit the report. And then since the Auditor General don't want to play ball, well, we take it to the courts. Simple as that. So Saddam and them come in with this foolishness and this nonsense trying to put through where there is none. Miss us. But I want to draw to the last thing, again in the interest of time. I just want to take some calls. I need to jump out by 8 o'clock. Is the issue. All these issues that they raised, that they read from the Auditor General's report to tell you this is why the government don't want to lay the report because this, that, the other, and the next. You realize they ain't talking about that no more. It was so earth-shattering and so grave. Oh my God. This requires a full police investigation. Ministers need to get locked up. They read it on one night and then they forget that. They push the report aside. They're telling me you give a little piece every now and then. So last week, Monday, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa gave you some and then, all right, we're done with that. Push the report aside. But if it is, and again, as I said, this is where PR on the part of the PNM needs to. If they were to take the time and read Auditor General's report for 2013, 2014, 2015. So when it is I saw Jayanti Lakshmidiyal put out this foolishness about this $26,000 that was spent to buy whatever it was and whatever it is they decide they were purchasing hasn't been received yet. So I had to mention in the comments to her and remind her that in 2013, 2014, under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, 70 guns were purchased for the Pradia Lassani squad. $336,000 was spent and the guns were never received. The money was paid, no guns received. You had nothing to say about that then, Jayanti. That wasn't earth-shattering. That didn't warrant coming on Facebook and putting out a post to alert the population. That wasn't serious. But then as I always say with them, less is more and more is less. So apparently $336,000 is less than 336,000 TT is less than 26,000 US. So that's not serious, right? That's not serious. You had nothing to say then. I read out for you all, I think the last live that I did a couple of weeks ago. Between 2010 to 2015, 120 something million dollars in overpayments. 120 something million dollars in overpayments. And about 50 or 60 million was not recovered. But for them, 60 million apparently is less than 26,000 US. So that is not worth coming on a platform and talking about and drawing the attention of the public so that they could see the foolishness that took place under them. 120 something million dollars in overpayments, and you only recover about 66 million. So where the rest went? Where the rest went? Who to blame for that? The government? Who to blame? Because since all they want to go down that road, well, hey, let's go down that road. And that is just a snippet of what is in that report. They love to talk about procurement, but when they wanted to do renovations on the ambassador's residence in Geneva, $27 million, according to the Auditor General's report, no proper procurement. They just say, hey, get 3 quotes. Call up 3 people and tell them we need 3 quotes there. So we're using the 3-quote system. And tell them, make sure it's as close to $27 million as possible. And they get 3 quotes. So you call your partner, hey, we need a quote, but we need to do some work on the ambassador's residence in Geneva. They get 3 quotes, 27 million built out. And when you read, again, the Auditor General's report, identify the things, what that money was spent on. In the kitchen, they had double oven, double fridge, 2 sets of washers and dryers, smart toilets. They're the kind of thing that your taxpayers' money you spent on, right? When they send John Sandy, they get fed up of him as Minister of National Security, so they get rid of him and tell him, hey, go to Geneva. You could be the ambassador, like yourself. Like yourself. They could also mention something about him doing surgery on his knees and all of that. You know, from all them years, a left, right, could take a toll on your knees. Yes. All of that is in the Auditor General's report. The same Auditor General's report that they now wanted to direct people's attention to, because all of a sudden we realize there's something called an Auditor General's report in 2024. It didn't exist before. It didn't exist. So to all of the supporters who are listening here and have plenty to say about Auditor General's report and what's in it and taxpayers' money and how it's spent, go back between 2010 and 2015 and read those and see how your money was spent. $53 million spent on a building, to rent a building in Barataria that cannot be found, was never outfitted, never used, but some landlord was smiling all the way to the bank. Only had a big issue about the money that was spent for the building on Park Street, for the DPP, who refused to move in. The building was there. It could be seen. We know it exists. And he could have moved in. He made the decision not to move in. The building in Barataria, look at how where it is. Where is it? But $53 million spent in rent, and we can't find the building. All that in the Auditor General's report. Go and read it. So when all you want to come here and feign all the hypocrisy, talk stupidness about how this government spending money, catch all your blasted. 77, I even forget what the number is. 2 weeks. All I know the number, forgive me. Yeah. My mind's still on vacation. Let me see. Let me just switch this device here. 7701763. Let's give on 1 minute caller. Let me just change this thing. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Don. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hope you were rested and the best for you.
Indeed, thank you.
A guilty person will hide. If saying to the open up, investigate me. And people only on what they have faced died because it's one of them. And I find curiosity to investigate from 2010 to 2015 what they did. When you open the door for one, PNM, over for all. They are pretenders. They are hypocrites. I know, but they don't like, we know it's always they don't like us. We don't like the wrong you do. You are the pretense or the hypocrisy, which is a norm for them. Kingsley and Twiggy are two who want to eat curry. Because if I don't have to like it, if he wants my neighbor to get upgraded, I have to, once I get water and light and street, I'm a happy person. So in one moment, the PNM, then by talk me, she's an faithful wife. You love your husband when the money comes. When I done it, all of them, that's prostitution. I must love you whether you have or don't have it. I took a vow for better or worse. And if things going bad as a wife, I support you. You will lean on me as your wife. And Twiggy is unfaithful. What do you and she have on her? What I promise her? Because she has been tied in and out and in and out. And that means you will not face the face of Mr. Dominic, who is somewhere to spend and perfect nowhere. But I will somewhere PNM. People know me. I have lost friends because of PNM. And I don't give a reference. Because I know that my government is doing the best they can. And African people hear me well, get off the slavery syndrome. Your parents were slaves for purpose, but you came this land on a slave ship. Yet it was cruel for them, but you have a better way now. You're enslaved, and slavery is in your mind. And can I pray Dominic? Father, thank for Dominic. And for Sister Jen and Brian. And Lord God, all who will take part of this program, God, who will listen, not with their ears, but with their hearts, Father. Lord, bless them. God, heal them, Father. Open up the east for the Spain, for Silas, for Beacom, for the other people, for more, for Lavender, Father. Open doors, Father. God, I speak over them, Father. Plumbers and masons and kings in the community, Father. Lord, not the gun, but the Bible, but a trouble and a wrench, God, and PVC. God, I call forth over them, Father. God, the sweet and cookies, Father, the pepper sauce makers, the doubles makers, the Lord God, the bread makers, and God, who make us sweet bread, and God, who will do a good fried fish, Father. God, I call them forth. God, I call it, the call of things into big and so they are, and God, I bless them. Lord, I bless them. God, I bless them for the heart he has to serve. Bless him, Father, and God, speak well over him. Over Jenny, over Brian, God, all the people on Facebook, God, who will type on YouTube and TikTok, God, I bless them, Father. Become a call you forth to be a beacon, not a garbage dump of waste, but a call for the beauty in you, a call for the diamonds, a call for the beautiful 100% oil in sea lot and love and tail before it and together the street, a call behind the greens, a call you forth, a call for hidden gems in you. See yourself as somebody, not to be used, but a planting of the Lord God in your life, a call forth. I speak well, I speak well, I speak well to the gems, to the beautiful diamonds, to the 1,000% gold, not 20 carat, but 1,000% carat gold will come from you. God bless PNM. I bless Prime Minister, I bless his wife, I bless Colin Imban, I bless every minister and the children, oh Lord God, I bless them, Father. And God, we honor you for putting PNM in this country. Just name amen and amen. Goodbye, Rita.
Thank you. 770-1763. Right, let me see some of the comments I'm seeing here. Roxanne is saying social development has so many grants giving out, and it's just them and those access. Indeed. You know, and one of the interesting things, Roxanne, is a few weeks ago, the government gave out 50 grants, total $100,000 each to 50 farmers in Trinidad. Right? 50 grants, and this is just the first tranche. I didn't hear Mr. Ishmael or any of these other persons come out to say that the PNM was practicing hate. I didn't see Philip Alexander come and complain that giving these 50 farmers $100,000 each makes no sense. I didn't see anybody else come out and complain to accuse the government of discrimination or wasting money in giving these 50 farmers $100,000 each. And this, as I said, is the first tranche. I wonder why. As I saw somebody post a comment, I think I screenshot it. Let me see if I have it here. So, let's see if I see this. Right. Gentleman by the name of Reggie Siraj. He says it is called institutional racism. And this is in reference to this same article, right? He goes on to say they lowered the merit-based scholarships from 500 to 100 because they found that too many races outside their clan were getting these transparent scholarships. They now give 500 bursaries, of which I surveyed all. Yeah, they always claiming they do research. These bursaries are given extremely subjectively. Out of the 500 bursaries, more than 80% went to Afro students. The Agricultural Land Project took in 200 persons, 180 of which were Afro, although 99% of the agriculture sector is Indo-based. Take a look at how PNM institutionalized racism in Trinidad. If every creed and race finds an equal place, how come anywhere the PNM controlled since 1956 only has Africans? And they put that in bold, like we in Ghana. One Reggie Siraj. Now, if Reggie is saying 99% of the agricultural sector is Indo-based, and the government gave out 50 grants totaling $100,000 each to 50 farmers, wonder what Reggie has to say about that. Since he says the Agricultural Land Project, which is the Homestead Program, took in 200 young persons according to him, and 180 of them were Africans. So that is racism, Reggie. Well, then I want to ask you, 99% of the agricultural sector, according to you, is East Indians, right? So it means that the majority of the 50 farmers who got this $100,000 each were East Indians. The same government that you want to claim institutional racism, the same government that you're claiming only doing things for Africans, gave out 50 grants, 99% of which, according to you, were for persons of East Indian descent. That Matsin, that English not Englishin, that French not Frenchin, that Spanish not Spanishin, Reggie. Make it make sense to me now. Please, help me out. Where was the complaint when those grants were given out? Nobody complained. Now we have no problem with that. But you try to help the Africans. Oh, we have a problem with that. That we have a problem with. That is institutional racism. PNM, being considered an African party, must do nothing to help persons of African descent. Help everybody else. And when they do nothing to help the persons of African descent, one tell the persons of African descent, well, they're voting for an African party and they ain't doing nothing for you. What should they help in? They're helping the Syrian and the 1% and the East Indians, but they ain't doing nothing for you. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. Right? Where are the persons to defend the government and when these things are happening? According to Dr. Rowley, I will broach no opposition. All you vex, all you want to call it institutional racism, discrimination, call it what you will. For far too long, the African community has been disenfranchised. They have not benefited from the largest of the state. And therefore, because when we create programs, you practically have to hold some of these young African men by the scruff of the neck, hold them by the back of their pants, like how the police just do it, and drag them to take part in these programs. You have to beat it into them. Opportunities abound, but no, it's easier to pick up a gun and then complaining. Yeah, nothing for the youth. The government don't care about the youth. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hey, morning, Dominic.
Hi, Carol, morning.
Happy to have you back.
Thank you.
But let's go upset that Christopher got extension. But I am happy to experience my own But she had lost. Also, I think that she has uncovered something. These people are committing crimes and then some are playing. Many have done that before and they've almost caught.
Yes.
This is second or third time we have that. Maybe she is behind the scenes doing what she's supposed to do and not fronting and jumping and outing and criminal and according to I forgot moving around most times. She was doing what she was supposed to do, and it in the little loophole where these criminals I'm happy she got the extent. He said, for me, first, I'm glad that the person who sorry, government.
Yes, Carol, I know you're going through it. Carol is one of our loyal listeners. In fact, the police officer who lost his life a couple of days ago, Officer Myers, was a relative of hers. Condolences to the family. It was a most unfortunate situation. But again, points to young African boy, right? The at-risk youth. So many opportunities. I think based on what I heard, he would have been injured. The officer would have shot him, and he was subsequently dropped off at Port of Spain General Hospital to seek medical treatment. And the police were able to apprehend him. But I understand again, he is from the East Port of Spain area, the very same area that the government is now trying to make a direct intervention to prevent these young men from picking up guns, and they could pick up something else, pick up a trade, pick up an opportunity to be a productive citizen, right? This officer, what I've been reading so far, certainly was a productive member of society. Of the society is, I think he was last assigned to the Arima police station. Based on what I've heard, he was avid into drag racing or something like that. But just went out for a line and lost his life, right? By again, one of these very same at-risk youth. Same at-risk youth that we're talking about, that the government is trying to make a direct intervention. But where are the people, the influential persons in the community, the leaders, the so-called leaders, to call these young men together and say, come and take advantage of this opportunity? Where are they? Where are they? Well, you're quick to do live and ring bell, ting, ling, 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 and bat out the government. This officer didn't need to lose his life. If that young man had decided to do something productive with this man would still be alive today. Right? And it was the sad part about it. I listened to the head of the Police Social Welfare Association yesterday, Officer Dixon. It's not the first time I've heard him say this and lament the fact that the police are disillusioned. You know why? And he made the point, specific reference to this crime, this murder. That yes, everybody happy that the young man was apprehended. Yes, they're happy he got shot. He's still alive to be brought before the courts. But you know what? He could be brought before the courts, and by the end of the day, or latest the following day, he back out on the street to kill again. Why? Because thanks to the responsible United National Congress, the party that is telling you put us back in office because we have the answers and the solutions to crime, thanks to them, he could get bail. But up until 2 years ago, he would have been sitting on remand until he would have been sprouting gray hair by the time his case is called. And we're talking about preliminary inquiry, or we've done away with that. But he would have been serving time behind bars, not able to come out and kill anybody else. But thanks to Jayanti and Anand, supported by Kamla Prasad Bisesa, today, that same young man who has taken this man's life, this officer's life, right? One less police officer available to stop crime. He could be back out on the streets by next week. Free to go and get another gun, free to kill again. And again, rob somebody else, distress other people. Because clearly he's not interested in honest living. Despite the opportunities. He's not interested in that. Yeah? Because who is there to guide him? We ring in bell, ting ling ling ling, about talking the government. I just want them to know, the UNC to know, just the next person that is killed, if this young man gets bail, the next person, and that is the problem. This is what Officer Dixon is saying. that fear, that concern that used to serve as a deterrent of crime, the concern about being caught. And so I was listening to Darren Marcel yesterday, and Darren said something that I had to disagree with, right? Where he talked about because he's opposed to Ulla Christopher's, the extension of her term. And he is saying, she needs to do more, and we need visibility, and therefore he thinks that if there's police visibility, that is going to curb the crime. I disagree. Remember these guys committing crimes in front of the police station. In front of the police station, a fella, you all remember a few months ago, a fella just walk out the police station after I think he went to sign the book or whatever it is, car pull up and shoot him right in front of the police station. How much more visibility than that you want? I saw a video a few months ago, big fight outside the Sangre Grande police station, in the yard, in the car park, in the police station, big fight. Seeing the video, the fight happened, it finished, and up to now, not one single police officer come outside to deal with that situation. Not one. And this fight lasted for about 3 minutes or more in the police, the station yard. You don't have any police officers in the station? Visibility not going to make a difference, because these guys know if I commit a murder, whereas before I had to be concerned that if I get caught, I would have to sit down in those prison conditions for at least 10 years or more on remand. Now, I know that if I get caught, once I organize and I have people to take my bail, I could be back out on the streets within a couple of days. So where is the fear? And it's going to take forever and a day for that case to call. In the meantime, you're free to walk about normal while your victim in the grave. You normal and free to rob and kill again. Thanks to who? Not Keith Rowley. Not Fitzgerald Hines. Not Coleman Burt. They didn't go to the courthouse and say, listen, we want to overturn this 105-year-old law that says murder, no bail. They didn't do that. And those who did it didn't do it because out of any concern for people sitting behind bars who might be innocent. They did it because they realized that you have a whole constituency of prospective clients sitting behind bars for whom we could apply for bail for murder. And whether they get the bail or they don't get it, they still have to pay. That was their motive. Money had nothing to do with concern for the people behind bars who may be innocent. But the supporters of that party don't like to have that conversation. They're not interested in that conversation and the impact that is having on crime. Because now you could kill with impunity and understand that within days, thanks to them, you could be back out on the street, free to kill again. So you feel when the gun that you kill with, when they take that they don't know where to go and get another one? When it is that we see all the time men who are out on bail for murder, coming behind, presenting themselves before the court again on another crime. But Giant, he wants to tell you, when you deprive these men of bail, that you create the potential for single-parent homes. Single-parent homes. She can't be serious. Is that person any type of role model? That's what you want for the young men, for their children? So you feel like when they come out on bail, they're going to turn their lives around and turn to God and get baptized and look for gainful employment, honest employment? You feel they're going to do that? You feel the partners on the block going to allow that? Oh, I'm to you, boy. You could take that man, go and make a 10,000. You could sell some weed, sell some coke, and make a money. You talking about going and look for work to work hard. 8 hours, 10 hours of people to be telling you what to do, and you could be making that money in one day. You're mad. But they ain't studying that, because everybody is entitled to apply for bail. But then the leader of the opposition vexed the other day when a man who was out on bail for murder is presented before the court on a charge of being in possession of a stolen vehicle. And she vexed. She vexed with the judicial officer and want an investigation. What investigation? He should never have been out on bail in the first place. But the man who was your attorney general was responsible for that. An attorney that you have sitting in the Senate and contributing to the making of laws today, she was responsible for that. And therefore, you too are responsible for that. Because you could have picked up the phone and tell them, forget about that. But no, you allow them to go through and only pat on yourself on the back. Another victory for Annan. Another victory for Annan. Victory for Annan was a loss for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So just bear that in mind. to all of the supporters of that party who listening, that if that young man gets bail for having killed this police officer, is on all year and only have internal elections coming up. And what happening? The position of political leader is not up for grabs, right? Not up for grabs. But we're still going and vote a set of waste of time people. Not one of them is worthy of sitting in the parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. None of them. None of them. Even those who might be presenting themselves as being clean and pure. The fact that they could support that foolishness and only now. So it took them 9 years to come to this revelation. Oh my gosh. Kamla Kusabi says, well, you not realize that? Well, nah. Well, you're not ready for that dance. You're not ready for that dance. No business being in the parliament. Objected to the bill amendment bill. They objected to the anti-gang law. All of these laws that would see these guys staying behind bars in prison when they get caught after the police put in all that effort. They refuse. We're not supporting this. We're not supporting that. Not enough people getting locked up under the anti-gang legislation. According to Munila, within like a binary card, 0110, you only lock up 12 people under this legislation in the space of a year or two. So that is not sufficient. You're looking at the deterrent impact of it, but only focus on the number of people. So the police not using it. So we're not supporting it. Let the sunset clause expire. So you cannot deprive people of bail for at least 120 days when these men killing people with impunity. So everybody could commit a crime now and get bail. Thanks to who? So when it is all you want to blame Hines and blame Rowley and what the government doing about crime and what the government doing about crime, it matters not. The government could do what the hell they want and the police could improve 100%. And every time a crime is committed, if it's committed now within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you arrest the perpetrator. The fact of the matter is, thanks to the UNC, they could go before the court and get bail and be out in a matter of hours. And that defeats the whole purpose of anything the government does, the police does, or anybody else. So unless all you fix that and you see that issue of bail, where you could commit crimes as much as you want and then come out on bail, and you're committing crime while you're out on bail and you come and get in bail again for another crime, something wrong with you. Government have nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. And when the government tries to fix it in the parliament, you have the recalcitrant minority that wants to be government again, refusing to support the bill. I'm talking nonsense about the victory and victory. Victory for who? Because it is in your best interest and the best interest of that party, the yellow party, for crime to be where it is so they could use that as leverage to get back into office. And then talking about you will go in the communities and do what? Do what? If you were serious about fighting crime, you would support the government from the parliamentary level and ensure that these miscreants stay behind bars when they commit the crimes. But no, half the time, 3/4 of the time, or 99% of the time, the lawyers that go into court to represent them and get bail for them belong to that party. You ain't ready for that conversation. Miss me with that BS. So I put crime squarely on the foot of Kamla Persad versus the UNC. And who vexed? That's all your business. Yes, always blame Kamla, blame Kamla. Yes, we blaming Kamla. Yes, we blaming her for it. Tell me otherwise. It doesn't matter what the hell the police do. You can look up who. So long as the opportunity presents itself for these persons to get bail and come back outside, what the police going and do? I locked you up yesterday and then today you're passing by the police station to laugh at me and say, hey, look, I'm back outside. So I just had to wait for you to commit another crime and lock you up and then you go back and get bail again? Check all yourself. Folks, is 8:02. I said I had to jump up really today. I'll see if I could jump back on in the morning. Because I know it's 2 weeks. We haven't had. So we'll see what happens in the morning. Yeah, because I have plenty to talk about that I ain't touched on yet. So enjoy the rest of your day. Make it a productive one. Don't let these people send up your blood pressure. And we'll continue to have the discussions. Yeah, so we'll see what happens in the morning, right? So thank you all so much.